It's amazing to think about it, but all those little things we do every day, they kind of ripple outward, It's not just our mood. It's stuff like our finances, too. And actually, you, our listener, you sent in some super interesting material about exactly that. This idea that tiny little changes can really add up to some pretty major shifts in how we feel overall.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what really jumped out at me when I was looking at what you sent over was this whole concept of a spiritual cleansing ritual, which is kind of a mouthful, I guess. But
Yeah.
the thing is, it's based on Buddhist ideas and practices that have been around for ages. And it's not just presented as some kind of nice little routine. It's supposed to be like a serious tool for actually transforming yourself.
Totally. And so what we're going to do is break this down together, okay? We're going to look closely at what this ritual is all about, what it's supposed to do, the thinking behind it. The material we have is excerpts that describe one very specific ritual, so don't worry. We're going to unpack it piece by piece.
And I think the biggest question we're left with is, can this ritual actually work? I mean, it seems pretty simple when you read about it, using normal stuff you find around the house and focusing on your intentions. But can that really affect something as big as your finances or how peaceful you feel?
Right. So let's just jump in. The material starts by talking about this feeling I think a lot of us get, being stuck,
Yeah.
Like you're in a rut. They talk about debt piling up, this anxiety that just won't go away, and a general sense that nothing's moving forward, and can be really draining. And then they say this ritual might be a way to finally break free.
And right off the bat, it's interesting how they connect that stuck feeling you have on the outside with what's going on inside you. They actually bring up Buddhist teachings and this idea that what's happening around us isn't just random. It's a reflection of our inner world, our thoughts, what we want, our overall energy.
So basically what they're saying is if you're surrounded by negativity, whether it's money problems or just feeling emotionally down, it could be because your inner energy is kind of clogged up. I don't know a better way to put it.
Right, like there's a blockage. And this ritual is meant to clear that blockage, to cleanse that energy. And the idea is that once that happens, good things can start flowing into your life.
Okay, so the ritual is about cleansing your home of negative energy. It's like clearing clutter to create a sense of space. And by doing that, you're supposed to open yourself up to more prosperity and well-being, right?
Exactly. But they're very clear that this is more than just cleaning your house the way you normally do. They really emphasize that it's a spiritual practice. It's about how you approach it, the focus you bring to each action, like sending a message about what you want to attract into your life.
Okay, so it's not just about tidying up. There's something deeper going on. And the source actually gives a super detailed step-by-step guide to doing this cleansing ritual.
Yeah, they really lay it out there.
Okay, so let's go through it then. The first part is preparing your space. And get this, it all starts in the bathroom. Now that's kind of interesting. Why start there?
Well, they explain that the bathroom is often seen as a place where negative energy can build up. Probably because it's where we clean ourselves and, well, get rid of waste. So step one is cleaning every surface really well. The sink, the shower, the floor, everything. And they even suggest using natural cleaning products if you can.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Next, you empty the trash. Seems simple enough, but then they say to close the toilet lid. Why that specifically?
The idea is that it stops negative energy from circulating around the room. It's about keeping the energy contained and balanced. Might seem like a small thing, but in the context of this ritual, it takes on a whole new meaning.
Interesting. And the last part of preparing the space is ventilation. Open the windows, let the fresh air and sunlight in. I guess that makes sense too.
Right. Fresh air clears out any stagnant energy that might be hanging around.
Yeah.
And natural light always makes a place feel more alive and new. You want the space to feel open and fresh.
All right, so the bathroom is prepped. Next step is writing down your debts. It's like facing your fears head on.
Exactly. You actually write down every single debt you have. Add it all up. It forces you to really see it, to make it real, instead of just this vague worry in your head. And the source really emphasizes being honest here. Don't leave anything out.
And right after that, they tell you to visualize. What's the point of doing that right after acknowledging all your debt?
It's about shifting your energy. Instead of dwelling on the problem, you focus on what you want, to be debt-free. So you close your eyes and imagine all those debts paid off, gone. And really try to feel how much lighter and freer you'd feel if that happened, like planting a seed of possibility.
Okay, I get it. Now here comes the really interesting part. Garlic and saffron. Tell us about this step.
So this is where the ritual gets a little more than.
Yeah.
Symbolic. You take a fresh clove of garlic and you write the total amount of your debt right on it, like with a marker or something so you can really see the number.
And then the saffron comes in. What's the deal with sprinkling saffron on the garlic?
Saffron is considered a symbol of transformation, specifically turning negativity into prosperity. It's thought to attract good vibes, almost like it's infusing the garlic, which now represents your debt, with the energy to change.
So you're basically saying the debt written on the garlic is now charged with the possibility of becoming something positive.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And then you go back to visualization and affirmation.
Right. So you close your eyes again, imagine your debts disappearing, feeling that sense of freedom, and then you say this affirmation out loud: I release my debts and open space for prosperity in my life.
Exactly. And saying it out loud is important. They say it helps to solidify your intention, almost like you're projecting it outward to help make it happen. You're engaging your mind and your voice.
Okay, so you've got the garlic with the debt written on it, sprinkled with saffron, you've visualized, you've said the affirmation. What's next?
Well, this is where it gets kind of interesting. You get rid of the garlic in the toilet, flush it away.
Whoa. Okay, talk about symbolic.
Right. As the water carries the garlic down the drain, you picture all your financial worries going with it. It's this physical action that represents letting go of all that negative energy tied to your debt.
So the debt is gone, symbolically at least. The last step is the action of gratitude, and it starts with lighting a green candle. Why green?
Green is associated with things like prosperity, growth, abundance. So lighting a green candle is a way of inviting those energies into your life. You put the candle somewhere safe to burn, obviously.
And then you focus on gratitude.
Yeah. You gaze at the candle flame and really feel grateful for all the good things in your life right now and for all the good things you want to attract in the future. The source says that feeling gratitude is powerful. It amplifies positive energy.
And lastly, you just sit for a moment and reflect on how you feel. Hopefully you feel a sense of peace and tranquility after symbolically letting go of all that negative energy.
It's a way to ground yourself, to notice any changes you feel inside. But then, right after describing the whole ritual, the source adds this really important caveat.
Yeah, they're very clear that this isn't some magic spell that's going to instantly wipe out your debt.
Right. It's not a quick fix. They emphasize that real change requires both the spiritual practice and actually taking practical steps in your everyday life, like getting your finances organized, staying positive, and making gratitude a habit. The ritual is like a jump start, not the whole engine.
Which brings us to one of the coolest parts, what they call the science behind rituals. They actually try to connect this kind of practice to quantum physics and Buddhist teachings. That's pretty wild. Let's start with the physics stuff. What connections do they make?
Okay, so they talk about two main ideas. First, the observer effect. It's this idea from quantum physics, and it basically says that just by observing something, you can affect what happens. So they say that when you do a ritual with really focused intention, it's like you're observing and influencing your own reality. Your thoughts and beliefs become like a filter. Now, to be clear, this is more of a metaphor than actual science, at least when we're talking about the big picture of our daily lives.
I get it. It's still a super interesting way to look at it. And the second physics concept they mention is quantum entanglement. How does that fit in?
So entanglement is this mind-blowing thing in quantum physics where two particles can become linked, and whatever happens to one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. The source uses this as a metaphor to explain how everything in the universe is interconnected. They say that our thoughts and intentions could be connected to events around us in ways we don't fully understand. Again, they're not saying our thoughts are literally quantumly entangled with our bank accounts or anything. It's more about illustrating this sense of interconnectedness.
Okay, so that's the quantum physics side of things. What about the Buddhist teachings?
Well, Buddhism is all about intention and gratitude. It talks about the law of karma, which says that every action we take, physical, verbal, or mental, has a consequence. So the idea is that doing this ritual with pure intentions, with a good heart, can lead to positive results down the road.
And gratitude is a huge part of Buddhist philosophy too, isn't it?
Absolutely. Being grateful is seen as this powerful way to cultivate happiness and contentment. The source says that when you truly appreciate what you have, you naturally attract more abundance into your life. It's like you're shifting your energy towards the things you value.
So basically, the source is saying that even though quantum physics and Buddhist teachings come from totally different places, they both point towards this idea that our reality is shaped by what we think, what we intend, and what we do.
Exactly. And they see this ritual as a way to consciously tap into those principles and make positive changes.
Right. And then they circle back to visualization. They really emphasize how important it is to create a clear picture in your mind of what you want. They say it helps align your conscious and subconscious mind, making it more likely that what you want will actually happen.
Like setting your internal GPS.
And finally, they talk about your environment again. They say that having a clean and organized space isn't just about making things look nice, it actually promotes peace of mind and clarity. It allows your energy to flow more freely, which can help you achieve your goals.
It all ties back into that idea of taking a holistic approach. It's not just one thing, but your internal state, your intentions, your actions in the world, and your surroundings all working together.
So just to recap our deep dive into this ritual, we started with the feeling of being stuck. We talked about how our external world reflects what's going on inside us. We went through all the specific steps, starting in the bathroom, flushing the garlic, ending with the green candle and gratitude.
And we talked about how the ritual is not magic. It's meant to be combined with real-world effort. Plus, we looked at the source's attempt to explain how it might work, using ideas from quantum physics metaphorically to illustrate interconnectedness and the power of intention, as well as key Buddhist teachings about karma and gratitude.
And the source really hammers home the point that for this ritual to possibly work, you need genuine intention, a bit of faith in the process, a clean and well-kept environment, and a constant practice of gratitude.
All these elements together, they argue, create the right conditions for personal change and potentially attracting more prosperity and well-being into your life.
So after all this talk about rituals and intention, I'm curious, is there some small ritual you might try incorporating into your own day, even if you're not sure about the direct impact on your finances? Maybe just the act of doing it, the intention behind it, could shift your perspective in a positive way. Just something to think about.